Right.
I've got as long as you want as well. Just
Yeah. Okay, sound. So, Conrad Ashton, online fitness coach, host of the Coach Con podcast, 12 weeks out from first
That's
bodybuilding show.
Yeah.
Running a 70-mile ultra marathon after the show.
Somehow. By the grace of God, hopefully.
And down 60 pounds from heaviest. I don't know if I've got that right, or is that right?
It's probably a little bit more now with prep, but essentially, that's about the figure.
So, who were you then and who are you now?
I was a bit of a fat bugger, wasn't I, really? Certainly worst. I had 2 periods of being fat, to be honest. Second year of uni, I was quite bad. I got quite fit in third year, but I was doing basically doing too much cardio, and I was a bit crash diet, and I got right down. I think the lowest I ever got was about 11 stone 12.
Right.
And that was by the end of third year, graduating and coming home. So probably about summer 2018-ish, I was about that. But I looked out, I was just a stick. I didn't even have abs. I don't know how I did that. But I was just skinny. I was super fit, running, everything like that. And then I kind of maintained it for a little bit, and I got working in a call centre. I was at Npower, just up the road before we got made redundant. And I gradually put a bit of weight on there because I wasn't smart enough to think, I'm doing all this exercise and suddenly I'm sat on my backside all day, in a call centre, because I've been working a little bit of Frankie and Benny's before that, so of course high output, again, steps, everything like that, 50 hours a week in there. And then I got that, so I wasn't smart enough to think, step count, doing all these steps, it was. So then I put a little bit of weight on in there, probably a few stone on, and then we got made redundant because of the COVID, that kind of thing. And then I basically ballooned in lockdown. That was probably when I got my worst. I was about 20 stone, and all that came to an end, and the gyms got reopened. I got fit again because I'd always liked my weights anyway. Even in second year when I'd been big in uni, I still did a bit of training. I didn't particularly diet or anything. I was kind of under this if it fits your macros sort of idea. But I thought a pizza was maybe 1,000 calories, so it's not. It's like 2,500, isn't it? But just daft. And I struggled heavily with confidence, particularly in uni that second year where I was big, because of course you're going on your nights out, and I remember sweating my tits off once in a nightclub in this blazer because I was trying to cover myself up basically and try and slim myself down. So I always wore decent clothes, but it was just confidence. I was just really struggled. As I say, I was all right, and when I was doing my music and everything, being the stage, I was all right. But I remember distinctly having a gig in the 360 Club one night in Leeds, and I remember we sounded pretty good, and I was playing and such, and I remember just feeling so judged on this stage, thinking they'll say right through this, and it was bloody awful because I had this blazer on.
Yeah.
As I say, I kind of looked the part in a way. I was dressed smart, had nice guitar and all that, and I remember just feeling so unconfident, just thinking I'm being judged, I'm being watched, I'm not good enough to be up here. We were getting clapped and everything like that, and they seemed to like what we did, but it was just this horrible feeling. It wasn't even imposter syndrome. It was just such a low confidence, and that there's still a little bit of that now and again. But I'm a lot better than I was, and of course I put myself out there online with the content and the obviously public facing with clients and social media and everything. So I think completely different. It's more just confidence, mindset, doing what needs to be done, getting up at 5 o'clock to go out for your steps and go on the gym and everything. And hopefully this show, and then if I qualify for the Universe, which is a week later, so I'm hopeful of that, I can do that and then go into my ultra, and that kind of completes the story in a way for the time being, So it's kind of...
Isn't Yeah.
So see how we get on.
Mint. It is, yeah. 70-mile ultra marathon. I will go into that, but Jesus, that blows my mind, mate. I run to the shops. That's it. I run to Tesco's. Wow. So, what did Fat Lad feel like at the time? And these are your words, by the way. I'm not just saying he's a fat lad. You do it beautifully on your social media.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Ross. It was just the confidence. The confidence was a massive thing. I kind of knew I had problems, but at the same time, to be honest, Ross, I was a bit delusional as well. I remember distinctly in uni was about, again, mid-second year, and I was doing a bit of training at Pure Gym, and they had one of them scales that measured like your body fat and so on.
Yeah.
And I remember going on it, and it reckoned I was about 35% body fat, and it put it in pounds, I was like 250 pounds. And I remember thinking, what a shite these scales are. I mean, I knew there was truth in it. I wasn't like, I didn't think I looked great or anything like that. But of course, that weight at the time, 250 odd pound, I remember thinking like a lot of the wrestlers weigh that, like John Cena and stuff. And I remember thinking, well, I do the weights. Why don't I look like John Cena? Like, I don't know what it was. It wasn't like a sort of a delusion as in like, look at me. It was just like, almost I was bloody thick. It was, but it was hard. And then I remember my pal Charlie, who I started training with in third year, he once said something to me, because we're on about like nights out, and I think I was dating somebody at the time and things like that, and he says, if you got a bit of weight off, he says, lady killer, you'd be great, you. I was like, what do you mean, get a bit of weight off? I kind of knew it, but it wasn't until someone called us on it in that way that I thought, he's got a point. I did, and I got right down. But I'd struggled with my weight all my life anyway. I mean, I was picked on heavily in primary school. That dragged on until about year 9, 10, where I lost a bit of weight, and I was on the football team and stuff, so you kind of get a bit of status when you're substitute that never gets on in year 11. So, bench warmer, that was me. But so again, that it kind of died off sort of years 10, 11, and the people that were bad was sort of years 7, 8, 9, that they end up getting kicked out anyway for other stuff. I think one of them punched a teacher at some point, so, rightly so. So yeah, that was just kind of that time where I was like, I just struggled, and as I say, I had a little bit of that delusion about us almost as well, which was a shame. And now I'd say it clear as day. I remember, but again, at the time, we didn't have all the knowledge and the tools that we do now of like the Instagram, like YouTube was still kind of just starting out in a way. I mean, I loved watching Rich Piana even when I was in uni. Of course, he used to rail off these cycles he was doing, stuff like that. But I used to follow the training. The only thing, I remember he did a 1,000 rep bicep workout. I remember once playing Pure Gym 3 hours on a scope of 5150, and that other one he had, I forget the other pre-workout. I had a scope of each of that and did this 1,000 rep workout. And I thought it was brilliant. So I always liked the training. It was just the rest of it that went with it that wasn't the best. Like so.
Yeah, it's Piana.
Those were the days.
So was there a specific moment after COVID where you decided to change? Because was that a turning point?
Yeah. So I'd started sort of back at the gym as soon as they were allowed to open. I did a couple of sessions, and I remember there was a picture that was shared on there was the chap at the gym who put some kit outside. You're allowed to do that at some point. So, and he took a picture of like, gym kind of open, make your way down, whatever. And there was a picture of me, and it was just from the back, and I was in this hoodie and just had my hands in my pockets. And I just seeing my hips on this hoodie, and I was, Christ, and that was a shock. And then the other one, I had a couple of days away with my folks when you were allowed to holiday in this country but couldn't really go abroad without jumping through hoops. So me and my folks had a few days in Scarborough, and there was a picture of me and my mum, and bloody huge in it. Like, I thought, Christ, I need to sort myself out here. And fortunately I did. I mean, there was a chap called Tony that took us under his wing, and he basically PT'd us, I think it was 3 and 4 times a week. He was very reasonable with his price, and he just wanted to help us, and he set us on my way and encouraged us to become a PT once I'd slimmed down. And it, even on the days we went for qualifications for like level 2 and 3, he came with us and was because of course yourself, you have to have like a test dummy, don't you, for like your qualifications. And Tony came with us and he helped go us through them. It was brilliant. And from then on I was qualified and began sort of my world of work with that, But at the same time as well, I was working for a firm called the Learning Curve Group, and I'll be polite, but the job wasn't for me. And I came out of there, and I was just like, right, I'm going to do these qualifications. And I remember even being there, because again, an office job sat my arse. I knew I'd put this weight on. I remember couldn't get my jeans right, you know, like the belt and stuff. And I was like, I am going to have to sort something out. So there's a few moments, and then, as I say, that fortunately culminated in Tony helping us get me qualifications. Like, so it was just, but again, it's that confidence getting knocked again, and again you see yourself in the mirror with your face and that getting all puffed up, and it's not very nice.
I've heard a lot of things like where it's generally a photo. What does it like?
Yeah, it was for me. I mean, even now, I mean, I think when we were taking a couple of pictures just now, I was still like sort of like this, and I know the camera's on, I'm still like, so quick, me tits, so I look all right. You know, you still do it. I think you always carry that round with you. There's something Charlie once said when I slimmed down in that third year with him, and he says, you'll always be a fatty at heart. And I thought, no, I'm running 10 miles with you, I'm all right. And it was, and he was right. That was like, what, 9 years ago. So, yeah, it still stays with you. It's always be part of you, I think.
I get the fatty at heart thing, though, because that's, if you think 9 years ago, then all your life before that, though, all of the habits, like we always talk about habits all the time, and it's like all of them ingrained habits, like, it is in you, do you know what I mean? And it's going to take more than the 9 years to like
tying it out,
to completely change it. Yeah,
that's it. Now I already thinking. I mean, I'm being very positive with prep and everything. I'm enjoying it, enjoying the journey. I'm enjoying even documenting and talking about it, and hopefully inspiring a few folks with it. But at the same time, I am sort of thinking, what about what happens post show? What happens after the ultra? What do I go for me? You know, I'm going to have to think of something else to keep us right, or not purposely, but I do fear I'll like knack it up a bit after. I already have that thing of like, I've lost
gold medal syndrome.
Well, I mean, I've done like a little bit of therapy and stuff like that, and that was brilliant for us. And part of that, she said, you always want the next mountain, Conrad. And I was like, right, you know, I thought that makes sense. It's like the next thing. So even now, I mean, I did some photos yesterday with Anne Stubbs at Ultraflex, and he showed us them. I was like, yep, they're good. And I'm like, it's lean, but it's not stage lean. And I never, but if you'd shown me them pictures even 2-3 years ago, or even when I first started as a PT, I'd have been like, is that me? My God. You know, but now it's like,
I've seen them, they look good.
Oh, they're very kind, you think. But now it's like, no, it's not stage lean, that'll come last. You know, I'm like, I've got 12 weeks to sharpen this, even though I'm probably maybe 10-11% body fat in them pictures. It's like, and I need 6 and 7%. You know, if it, you know, so I'm wanting the next thing all the time. And then, as I say, of course, there's the ultra to do, and I'm thinking, well, will I be done with that then? Will I do something else? I mean, I don't know. I chase the next thing, and I don't really sit on what I'm doing at the moment. You know, even them pictures, I'm like, yep, right, back to work. You know, and that's what I've been doing this morning before coming here. I've got my steps up, done half my cardio, I've got the other half to do after this, and then a few more steps later. Of course, I was having me great yogurt and protein before we were doing this, so it's back to work. It's just the next thing all the time. So yeah.
Good man. So, what changed mentally that allowed you to keep the weight off?
I think I just put that much pressure on myself a little bit this time to stick with it, because strangely enough, I've had a couple of little phases while I've been a PT where I've put a little bit of weight on again and then lost it again, stuff like that. And sometimes there's been outside factors with that. I was in a bad relationship a couple of years back, and that didn't help. That was a bit of a bad time, you know, stress and so on, and being on eggshells, and that messed with you. But actually, when I had a little bit more weight on, I was way busier, but I'd done that just off me sort of past glory of slimming down in the first place to become a PT. So it was just carrying on with that. I mean, of course, now I don't really do anything on the gym floor. It's mostly with you online. But again, I could be back to back 10 clients a day, not really looking the part at times, just because I'd been putting that much into the business and trying to grow that and so on. And yeah, it's now it's just the thing of, well, I've committed to prep, I'm documenting. I mean, I had this booked from about mid-November. You know, I kind of sat down with a couple of people, and I was like, look, I'm thinking about doing this. What do you think? And they all backed us, you know, to do it. So I had it booked, and I thought, well, I mean, it sounds daft putting the pressure of money on it, but of course, PCA membership, it's like 60 quid, your show day is 70 quid, your tan 70 quid, your photo package is 70, the hotel for the weekend's 190, you've got your travel to Birmingham, so you've blasted all that money anyway, so you better bloody turn up, you know, I mean, that's before you've bought your, you know, supplements, your gym membership, you know, it's the list kind of goes on. It's best not to look at the costs, but for me, I can't help but think, well, there's all this pressure. So, and now I'm announcing it, and of course, week by week, I'm giving this blow by blow account to do my YouTube and everything like that. That I'm like, well, I've got to stick to it because I just, with the greatest respect, I know there's coaches that's tried to prep for shows before, and perhaps something happens and they can't do it. I get that, but I'm just like, I can't do that. I can't face making a video and saying, oh well, prep's off. You know, it's you know, I've got to do it. I've got to turn up and do myself proud. You know, that's the pressure that I've put on myself. And again, with the content and documenting and talking about it all the time, and probably getting on people's wick. Like I've got to do it now. I've got to turn up. So
honestly, I've done exactly the same. So when I've done a couple of photo shoot preps,
yes,
I've done exactly the same. Each week, posted an update on my social media. Total accountability, show people it can be done. If I've had shit weeks, I'll tell them. I generally don't, to be fair, but it's like I've always done that for them. And why not? It's like gives you the self accountability.
Yeah, it's like self-checking.
You're fucking saying you're going to do it, you have to do it now, don't you?
That's right. That's right. You know, it's just that extra layer, isn't it?
It is. So, what separates someone who is ready for What separates someone who is ready from someone who just likes the idea of change?
I think the actions speak for you. You know, I mean, it'd be very easy for me to come on here and say, "Oh yeah, I'm in prep doing all this," and then nick off to Greg's round the corner. You know, you know, the camera won't be on us at that point. Yeah. I could do that, but it's, you know, but I'll know I've done it. It's having that self-awareness. Just to think, well, this is what I'm committing to. So I think to myself, what's the winner of the first time is going to be doing? He's not going to be going off plan. He's not going to be doing this. You know, what's someone, even take the I mean, obviously I'm prepping to win. I'm not turning up for last. But even the other thing, if I go well, qualifying for the Universe, if because that's a week later, hopefully we get an invite. It's the thing of like, what's someone who's going to qualify for that going to do? Well, he's not going to knock this up. He's not going to, you know, go down the Brewers Arms tonight and Spenny and get plastered. You know, it's like what's the winner, or what's the best athletes on that day going to do across the classes to be the best they can be? And it's just repeating those actions daily. I've got 87 days, and I'll do my very best to hopefully get a medal. Like so.
I like how you've got it in days.
Yeah,
I like that.
Not that we count.
So break down structure, standards, accountability. Obviously taken from your IG.
I know, you've pinched that. So your structure is how your days look. So everything I've got pretty organised. So I know when my alarm's set for getting up. I've got my timing for my training. Who I'm training with some days as well. One of my clients and very good mates, Bill's been fantastic as a training partner throughout prep. I've then got things in like my work block, so everything from when I'm going to make content, when I'm going to even do a little bit of outbound. I still do a little bit of that because it can help business. You know, when am I going to be get my cardio in, steps, all the kind of non-negotiables, meal prep, roughly when I'm going to be going to bed. So just those boundaries that I'm putting in for myself to stick to. I don't get everything right down the last thing. You know, I know roughly as long as I've trained and then I eat within an hour or so, great. You know, I'm not going to be like, oh, well, I must eat at 9:32 on a morning. You know, I'm not that over the top. But in terms of standards, it's the thing of, again, going back to what I was saying earlier, what's the winner of the PCA Classic first time is going to do? This, and this, and that's what he's going to do. That's what he's going to execute on the daily and win his show. So there's that. So for me, even basic standards, 10,000 steps a day, cardio 40 minutes 5 times a week, 5 weight sessions a week at the bare minimum. and then follow my meal plan, basically, or swap in, as long as it fits the macros, swap things in as and where I need to with that for a little bit of flexibility and change maybe. And then accountability is just, what systems have you got in place to keep yourself accountable? So for me at the moment, Kyle Bacon, who's been a great help for me at Ultraflex, pretty much coaching us through this. Bill, my training partner, fantastic again. That's another layer of accountability. Me mum and dad's took an interest in what I'm doing. I've got, obviously, of course, I mentioned the Instagram, the social media side of things. That's, again, another layer. Numerous friends and positive messages and things like that, and the support I've had from it's been fantastic. So again, it's that extra layer of, well, I don't want to be letting them down, I don't want to let myself down, and it's just that every morning is kind of what's in my head for getting up and executing the day to the best of my ability, essentially. And I think everyone needs something in place. I mean, again, going back to even like Bill as an example, we were chatting about this morning. It's like the thing of he's married, he's got parents, he's got business to run, house to run, bills and responsibilities and so on. So an awful lot going on compared to myself. So what stands to say have in place? He does his meal prep, he knows what meals he's having, he'll be training with me, he's got an active job, he knows what time he's getting up on a morning, knows when he's going to bed. So those are all standards that he's got there. So we can all have our own set. It doesn't need to be on the extreme side of things. It doesn't need to be a bodybuilding prep where, including your steps, 4 to 5 hours of your day is taken up with training, essentially. It doesn't need to be like that. So, and again, your accountability can be, husbands, wives, friends, whatever. You don't need to do what I'm doing and document every last thing. It can just be, what things can you get in place to support your accountability? It could even be a coach, it could be anything, and then again, structure. We all have a Google Calendar. We can all say, right, getting up here, meal prep here, doing it just basics. It doesn't have to be down to the last minute of meal timings and everything like that. Even if you just set yourself a bit of a range. So I'll get up between 6:30 and 7 o'clock. I'll set a few alarms then to make sure as long as by 7 I'm up. So it doesn't need to be super dialed in even. You can just start with something like that and do them a bit at a time. If you're starting at nothing, just add a little bit in as you go. I'd say that would probably be the best way of putting it, a roundabout way.
Do you feel accountable to your clients now to follow this through?
Oh yes, because they all know I'm doing it.
Yeah.
They've all been supportive. They appreciate that a little bit at the moment. Like, I did a message to pretty much all of them at the weekend, which was just like, because normally I'm checking in with them maybe 2 and 3 times a week. At the moment, it's maybe just now and again. I'll just be like, is everything all right? And then say them at the check-in. And I'm pretty much voice noted all of them at the weekend, just kind of saying, look, if there's anything you need, just reach out, pick the phone up. Of course, life's been taken over a little bit at the moment with prep, but I'm still very much available. If there's anything you need, just message. And they're all great. There was nothing that they needed or anything like that. So that was nice. But again, I feel, because again, I've got some fantastic lads with us at the moment, Matt, Thomas, of course, Bill. So again, even though these lads have all done very well anyway, if they maybe want that next level, like what I'm doing, maybe they'll have a think about that. Obviously, again, some of them have, very busy lives, jobs, so on. But again, if they just think, well, maybe I want a little bit more, I can do that. They can think about the next goal and so on. Because of course, I've done an ultra before. I've done numerous half marathons. I did a triathlon. Yeah, so I did a 50k. So I only just scraped it.
Right,
so
yeah.
31 miles I did. So I'm doing a bit more this time, sadly.
Yeah, just a bit.
Just slightly. So yeah, it's showing that you can do whatever you want to do. I mean, yes, I'm probably never going to get an IFBB Pro card, but I can be on the stage and be competitive. I'm not going to be, an ultra runner as such, like, doing the Barkley marathons and all that in America. But, I can have a bloody good go and show people what's possible on the scale I can do, and hopefully look all right while I'm doing it, That's the idea.
Class. So, do most men struggle more with discipline or identity?
Bloody good
Go
questions.
deep there, eh?
I love it. You say I've struggled with both, and I think they were both to the same degree. So discipline, definitely, you know, when it's cold first thing on the morning, you're sort of thinking about, I could have another hour in bed. I might just skip the gym today. Do my legs still hurt? I'm a bit tired, you know. Discipline, that's always there. That, you know, I think for me, that fat lad mentality always creeps in. And if I have to get up, I was doing a little bit of extras work the other week, so I was getting up about 4 so I could get some steps in before getting ultra for 5 to train, to be on the road for 6:15 to get the Stocksfield for a call time of 6:45. So that was like, and then it was like a 12-hour day up there. So, and then I still had cardio to do on the night. So that would have been very easy. I'll just have a rest day, you know, but it's Wednesday. I've got back and bice to train, you know, so that's always there, the discipline. I think it's both. I think identity as well. I struggled with that. Certainly, as I mentioned with the music example at the beginning, that was something I struggled with. I think even coming into the coaching thing, because I've never been in that, you know, elite sort of condition, you know, your Mike Thurstons, all that sort of tribe.
What a beautiful man he
is.
is.
It certainly is. But, you know, you do kind of think a little bit like, oh, is this for me? Am I really like a PT unless I look like that? Or whatever standard you're holding yourself to. And I think, again, it goes back to always wanting the next thing. But I would say it was both. And I think for me, it was both equally. And I think even now it still creeps in a little bit. I just choose to ignore it. You know, I think if I back things up on social media, because I've had a couple of decent newspaper articles lately in the Chronicle and the Northern Echo, which was nice. So that, again, that proves it, because they're not going to reach out and cover you if they think you're a tit. You know, they're not going to bother with you. You know, they're not going to stick you on the, you know, give you a page spreading it in the Echo if, you know, they've no interest in you. So it's just what proof can you get for all these things? So if you're someone that wants to be disciplined, again, what are they going to do every day? They're going to be getting up, they'll prep the meals. I get things ready the night before. I'll have me intra-workout drink, my carb powder, my AAs in. I'll have me pre-workout mixed in my little cup. You know, just so all I have to do on a morning, Ross, is get my ass out of bed and get out the door. And then again, the identity, what proof I got. Even going back to yesterday, I've got the pictures with Anne Stubbs. Again, identity. Were you out today? I don't think you would out again. You wouldn't. I don't think you bother with us if you didn't want to speak to us. You know, it's because you've known me right from the start. So even you've seen me from right the beginning to present day. So there's that as well to think of, and it's just, even when that doubt creeps in of identity or anything like that, it's again, what proof do we have that goes against it, you know?
Yeah.
I think that's a good way of thinking about it.
That proof up.
Yeah, I think you've got to, otherwise you find yourself slipping. Because I've slipped before, and I've been at rock bottom before at 20 Clem, not wanting to be here. So you've got to keep that going. You've got to keep filling up that biscuit tin, if you like. Otherwise, that's it. Yeah, you got any biscuits? You know, so you've got to keep doing it. Otherwise, you risk going backwards, like I've done in the past. You know.
Brilliant. You versus you.
Oh, yeah.
I've seen that. You've used that one. So, is you versus you self-talk fuel, or does it evolve over time?
I think it does evolve, because from where I could have done that post with pictures and the shape I got in June to go on holiday to Pefkos with my pal Cameron, you know, I looked pretty well. I did some pictures with Luke Watson. I was quite happy with them. I thought, I've done well, and I could have easily have used that picture as against, again, right at the start, where that little video of us in the bathroom in lockdown, 20 Clem. You know, I could have easily have done that then. I think I probably did. But now I put the pictures of like yesterday and the prep files and all that. I put that next to how I looked in June. I'm like, well, different person again. So it keeps evolving, but there's definitely a lot of fuel in it, because I don't want to be that person again. I don't want to go back to how I was. I don't want to even be slipping anymore as like a PT or anything like that, coach. But again, I've put those boundaries in place where I don't. I mean, there was a time where, as I say, I'd be back to back, maybe 9-10 clients during the day. So your own train kind of gets forgotten about, things like that.
I understand that.
Yeah, you do. You're a very busy man. So it's hard if you've been back to back and if you've had, a few clients that are maybe, not in a bad way, but you've had to be there for. They maybe had things going on. Your social battery's drained, so you're a bit drained. But now it's kind of, I have those boundaries in place where if on a night I want to watch the telly, put my phone off, that's it, that's my time. Whereas before I didn't, because I think, what if so-and-so wants to give us a text? It's you can't be on all the time. And again, one of these generic sort of phrases, you can't be pouring from an empty cup. If I'm struggling, if I'm a bit flat, I can't then be thinking, I want to keep helping, because that just buggers you even more. So it's having those boundaries in place. Whereas again, even if there'd be days like a split day where maybe I have 5 folks on a morning, come back on an afternoon, have another couple on a night, again, I wouldn't do that now, because yes, I'll still make time for them, even if I have to come in on a Saturday morning for the people on that night. I'll say, well, look, I'll say Saturday morning, but then at least the rest of my days, my own, I can focus on other areas in the business again, content creation, doing something like this for yourself, having a little bit of downtime, something I was taught of Kieran O'Neill is downtime is uptime, and I was like, what? But when you think about, you need that rest, you need that recovery, you need that time to yourself, you need to do things that are filling your own cup. Bloody hate that saying, but it's right.
Hey, man,
you need to have that in place. So I think once you set those boundaries, and again, going back to what we said about standards, you're going to be all right. That's what's going to get you to that next level, and then beyond that, and take it from there. Like
bodybuilding prep.
That's it. That's where we're at, man.
So why bodybuilding, and what does stepping on stage represent?
Something I always had in my mind. I mean, I remember distinctly even like sort of back end of school where I started to take a bit of an interest and lift my first few weights. I was thinking, I looked up to like Arnie, Frank Zane, all that kind of crowd. Excuse me, from back in the day, yeah. So I just used to think, it'd be cool to do that one day. And then I remember as a kid, I got Arnie's Encyclopedia of Bodybuilding. I've still got it. But I remember thinking, well, this is the gospel truth. Yeah. And he was in training 4 hours a day. And I thought, I can't really do this, like. So I kind of thought, we'll park that dream for the time being. But it was always something in the back of my mind. And to be honest, it's something that I want to do. It's proven something to myself. But at the same time, Ross, as well, I did all that running. I did that triathlon, did that ultra, the little ultra, and all that stuff before. And from a business perspective, it kind of worked. It helped a little bit. But to a point, the greatest respect myself, I really didn't give a toss. It was like, it wasn't that proof of a photo shoot or bodybuilding or that really drags people in. Yes, it was like the fat loss, and he's gone on to do endurance and really good, but it just wasn't going to put me in the business side of things to the next level. Whereas now, when I've started documenting prep, I've had a few more inquiries on things. I've had an increase in sort of engagement with Instagram, that kind of thing. Of course, I've had the news coverage as well, which has helped. I've had a couple of folks reach out and trying to get calls booked in with those guys to hopefully bring them in. So it was just the thing to try and help business. And again, I just felt it was the next mountain for me. It was like, well, we've done all this stuff. Right, what's next? Well, we'll bodybuild, and life, fortunately, is in a good spot where I can do that. At the moment, if I'm like, well, I want to train at 7 o'clock in the morning, I can go and do that. If I say, I think I'll have a lie in, I'll get everything done this afternoon, I could do that as well if I want. I've got that freedom, flexibility. There's no pressure anywhere else. I'm not involved in anything sort of toxic or dragging us down. Work's good, there's no drama with any of that. So this is my chance to do it. I've no sort of dependence or anything like that. I can do this myself. It's kind of like a now or never sort of thing. And I think for the years I've trained and everything like that, for me to get lean down now, any muscle I've built over the years is going to look better because, yes, it has been on and off over the years, granted, but I think the bit muscle I've got is going to look good once it's, you know, fully peeled and on a stage. And again, stepping on stage it's kind of the culmination of it, you know, again, from the journey, from that it'd be very worse to being at the best I'll ever be for that moment. It's just something that's going to stay with us for life. You know, if I end up having kids one day and they see, you know, the picture of me on stage, you maybe say the Ultra, something like that, any memorabilia that I collect, they'll go, oh, pretty fucking cool dude, Dad, you know, like it's stuff like that that's in my mind. I think, you know, maybe a few years down the line, something like that happens, you know. So it's just those little things that build up kind of my own proof and then hopefully inspires people for a little bit of time to come, you know.
Yeah. So what's been harder, physical or mental prep?
I think it is the mental, you know. It's because I was saying this the other day, like prep's a bit of a game of moments, you know. You can be, I'm top of the world talking to you now, brilliant, but again, I'm quite aware that I could come out of here and be like, oh, I've still got a few thousand steps left, you know, I've still got, I've only got 2 miles left, you know, what, at 3 miles, I think, whatever, you know, I'm a bit tired, you know, it's kind of getting yourself to snap out of that, because again, I can't drag that on, otherwise I'm going to get beat in 87 days, which is not what I'm preparing for. So I think it's definitely the mental. And again, that first thing on the morning, again, if I'm getting up at like 5 in the morning, something like that, your first thought is, could you sack it off? You know, you get that fat bastard mentality coming back in, like, you could have a cheat day, you know. Yeah. So it's the physical's fine. I mean, as I say, in terms of training, obviously Ultraflex, fantastic environment. I'm fortunate as well. I've got a membership at Forge Fitness in Darlton. That's a great little gym as well. Great kit, good atmosphere, nice folks in there. So I've got that. So, and again, the people I've trained with, it's great to get that push and the accountability's there. So the physical's always going to be there. I've got a session with Anth Bales on Monday. My legs are still reminding me. But again, brilliant, you know. So even though I think that morning I was a little bit flat, once I got Anth shouting and swearing at us, it was brilliant, you know, and I got through it. So it's just moments, and I think the physicals, you know, I think that is what it is. That's the fun bit. That hour and a half you have at the gym is the fun part, whereas the mental is something, you know, 8 o'clock at night you can be starving and you still could be awake and think, no, could you scan the fridge, you know. But again, it's so, and I've still got 87 days, maybe longer, with the Universe qualification to fight that, you know.
What have you learned about yourself during the cut?
That I can do it. That this isn't impossible. That certainly after seeing them pictures with Anth, and again the nice feedback I've had, many have been very kind to us this morning, and you know, even just people. I mean, there was a chap from school the other day wrote to us, and honestly, not for any reason. I'd never seen him since year 11. We went different ways. I went to college. He, I think, stayed on sixth form. And he wrote to us the other day, and he said, "Seeing the article in the paper, like, what a turnaround! You look great. Wishing you every success." He honestly wrote a hell of a paragraph. I thought, bloody hell, you know, it's so. It's just that belief that other people's found in us a little bit as well, and that I think I've learned to believe in myself a little bit more. I think that's the thing, because I still, as I say, I still get me moments, this and that, but I've got a lot more belief, a lot more confidence. Not that I've been unconfident lately before this, but I think it was just that thing of, again, backing up the identity, backing up the proof, and that I don't think anything for me to a point is impossible. You know, maybe, as I say, something crazy like chasing a pro card or down the Moab 240 miles in America. You know, like, what's that one in the desert that Goggins did, that 140-mile ultra? Like, again, stuff like that. I'm sort of thinking, well, I'd rather not. But I think just that self-belief and that I can do it. And then, again, it backs up my message of if I can do it, other people can do it as well, you know.
So how often are you thinking about food?
I'm not so bad, you know. Honestly, I'm it creeps in a little bit, but again, I just think, no, my attitude is the food's always going to be there, and there's nothing, again, go back to what I said before, there's nothing stopping me saying, oh, great podcast, Ross, cheers. Right, Greg's.
Yeah.
You know, there's nothing stopping us doing that, because it's so easy to do that. So I'd rather choose the harder path and just go, we'll have a donut when it's all done. You know, because you know yourself, Ross, food's in the moment anyway. I could go out of here, order a box of donuts, you know, pasty, whatever the hell I wanted. I could have it. I just feel like shit after. You know, you get that initial satisfaction of the taste buds, the dopamine, so on. You'll have that, oh, what have I done that for? You know, and then you potentially, no matter, you know, if we say there's 3,500 calories in a pound of fat or whatever, you know, if I've done that, say because again I used to binge and things like that, so I know I'm capable of doing that. You know, that fat bugger's still in there. So if I did that, I'm going to feel terrible. That could knock prep back a few days, things like that. And then again, if you lose, you're going to be thinking, oh well, I had that binge and I had this and I did this and I didn't do that. You know, and that's going to torture you because you can't undo it. You know.
By listening to that, you're going to maintain very well afterwards. I'll tell you why, because we've done a few hundred people photo shoot preps.
Yes.
And for the people who talk throughout their cutting phase of seeing like, I can't wait for pizza, I can't wait for this, I can't wait for that. Oh, I wish I could have this, I wish I could have that. They talk about that all the way through, and then obviously binge at the end. But then we have the people who, exactly what you've said, it's like, I know I'd feel shit afterwards, like, I will have something, but I'm not going to go mental. And those are the winners at the end of that.
Well, that's it. I think it's the other thing as well is, and I'm not against this, you know, slagging it off, but I know there's folks that take like tons and tons of cookies, donuts, things like that to these shows for after, and I'm like, why? You know, because if it's there, you're going to eat it. I mean, I'm one of these, I hate waste and things like that, so I know I'd have them because they're fresh, even if I didn't want them. I'd be like, well, I don't want to waste this, don't want to chuck stuff out, you know. So I'm not going to do that. I'm just thinking, no, like, yes, there'll be a meal after. But because the other thing is as well, if I qualify for the universe like 8 days later, I can't have a blowout because I need to maintain it to go again the following Sunday. Yeah. You know, so I can't really be thinking, oh, champion first time is, you know, get the beers on. It's I can't, because again, I'm going to have to go again. 8 days from the first time, as you know. So it's just having that attitude. I mean, again, I'll have to have a little bit of food after because of the ultra. I don't think I can, you know, I will have to get a little bit on. But again, that's going to be used for 70 miles, isn't it? So
what's the time frame between the two then?
About 3 weeks. So with the universe,
fucking hell,
3 weeks. Yeah. So I'm going to have to. Just gonna have to get the prayer mat out.
Jesus Christ! I didn't realise it was that soon.
Won't be going to Ultra. I'll be going to Durham Cathedral. Popping in there. But again, that's charity. I'm raising money for mine, mental health, and that's, of course, a thing close to me as well. So, like mental health, that kind of thing. So, it's for a good reason. And I had to defer it last year because I had a bit of trouble in Manchester. I basically had a stomach infection. I thought it'll still be a good idea to run the Manchester Marathon. I got to mile 14 and basically got stopped off like a bunch of people because they were like, "You are fucked, are you?" Like, because I was waving all over the road. I was like this. I was in horrible pains. Everything. It took us 3 hours to get to mile 14, so I was never getting to 26 by the 6 hour cut-off.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was so I had to defer the ultra from last year to this, and I kind of forgot about it with doing prep, and then I was like, oh shit, I've still got to do me running. So
and is it 70 miles, yeah?
It is 70.
So why run 70 miles after getting stage lane?
Just again, show what's possible, that you can do it all. You know, the thing is as well, because one thing I'm kind of thinking is a lot of people slate bodybuilding, they say like, it's unhealthy, this, that, you know, supplementation, which we know about, things like that, and I'm utilising a little bit of that, of course I am, but again, I'm not going to fry my insides and everything like that and knack me blood work, because again, I've got that to do. I've got the ultra to do, so I want to prove that you can look good, you can get on the stage, but you can still be fit to do an ultra. And an ultra really, not to put them down, but it's more just that, a test of mindset. You know, you do a marathon, you think, right, I want 4 hours. 4 hours would be a nice time. Or maybe for me, it would be a nice time. Some folks obviously a lot quicker, so on, and some folks might be a little bit more. But, you know, with an ultra, it's just getting it finished. And ultras, you don't run the whole 70 because you have to stop, have your food, your pit stops, things like that. You'll do a little bit of walk, and some of it's in the hills. It's like Hadrian's Wall and that kind of thing. So you've got to... It's just more tactical and pacing it and getting your food right and things like that and finishing it that way, like, so.
How do you mentally switch to just don't die on your runs?
I think it's... You always get a little bit of that. I mean, even the last time I ran was the Great North Run in September. So that kind of adds things to it. Now, I think even about mile 5 that day, I was having a few bits of aches and pains, things like that. I hadn't particularly done that much training in the run-up to it. I'd been pretty busy over summer, like holidays and business and so on. And it's always there. I think it's just that thing of just keeping going. And I always have this thing in my head, rightly or wrongly, that I know there's people that watch me on Facebook, Instagram, because you see them on the viewers. And I know there's people that distinctly watch my stuff that are thinking, champion if he feels this. You know, I know when I announced prep, I saw who was viewing my story, and I was like,
do you really think that?
Yeah, a million percent. There's a few names I guarantee that I know that I keep in here that I'm like, so I do it to beat them as well. You know,
right.
I have a little bit of that, and it's like
a little bit of fuck you.
A little bit, a million percent. I've got a lot of that. It's that watch the stories, things like that, and they'll be thinking, you know, and I know there'll be people now thinking, he's 12 weeks out now, he's got plenty of time to mess this up. But I'm like, I'm not going to, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to do well, you know. Because I've been around sort of the toxic environments before, where there was a chap once, an old gym I was at, and this chap finished third, and he was in the naturals, he did brilliant. And I remember they're all stood around the counter slating him, saying, oh, well, if he hadn't knocked his peak wake up, and if he'd done this, and if his coach had told him to do that. And I thought, look bloody amazing, like, what? You know, so it doesn't matter how far you get, and however, whatever you do anyway, people are always going to have something. So I just have I remember distinctly on my first ever half marathon I did, which was the Leeds Half a few years back. And just with injury, I couldn't particularly train for it. I was dreadful with plantar fasciitis and stuff like that. I kept running into problems, and I got through that with all sorts. It was like music, a bit of David Goggins, had him on. Kept saying my prayers. I remember thinking my parents were at the finish line. So I had a few things that just kept us going. Yeah. So I just have different resources that I'll go to, you know. So, you know, obviously I'm big on my music, so I'll have got tons of playlists downloaded. I get every penny's worth out the Spotify Premium. So I've got that. I've got me motivational sort of playlists on YouTube, things like that. As I say, I'll you know, a few prayers if I need to, whatever it takes, just to get through it. And I know for the ultra, I think a couple of my pals have said they're going to kind of pop along, and because there is pit stops and that kind of thing, but I think they've said they're going to try and just hang about a bit, and they might go home for a few hours and then come back and try and find us and see where I'm at. Yeah, so I'm like, if I've got a bit of a crew with us, so to speak, again, they're going to get you through it. And again, I was talking to Anth yesterday, Anth Stubbs, who did the pictures, and we were saying, like, well, it'd be good to get a little bit of not a documentary type thing, but just content for like YouTube and clipping everything together from prep to the ultra, to everything like that. And so I think, well, if that's another layer, I've got to finish it because Anth wants his money, you know. So I've got that to do. So you know, it's just having different things in place. It's not just like getting lost in this thing of, oh, it's hard, my legs hurt, or I could give up, and you know, it's just having the different resources, if you like, to keep going between different thoughts to get you through it. It's just, I think the ultra's like, it's going to be, if I get a move on it, it'd be 16 hours of hell, whereas you know, it's going to be over pretty quick. Whereas obviously prep isn't hell, of course, but it's a long period of being consistent, disciplined, motivated. You know, I don't want to say sacrifice really, because you choose to do it, but you're missing out, I suppose, on the social occasions, so on, the pints, watching the match, stuff like that. So you the ultra, really, I think it's going to be way easier than what I'm going through at the moment, because it's one afternoon and evening of like locking in, you know.
Yeah. So you're not going to die?
Ah, no. I'm just, no.
We didn't die because this will look
No,
weird,
I'm not the type. I'm not the type. I'll do my best.
What do you reckon most people get wrong about fat loss?
I think it's not only fat loss, I think it's the whole transformation journey, they overcomplicate it. You know, I think we know fat loss is essentially calories in, calories out, have a good amount of protein. I'm personally aiming for, it's because of prep and so on, I think at the minute it's about 2 and a bit grams per kilo of body weight. It's probably a little bit more, about 2.5 grams, I think, per kilo of body weight at the moment. And that's all you need to do. Calories in, calories out, good bit of protein. Don't over restrict, because then you'll go into a binge cycle and so on, like I did for a long time. But then your other one is as well, just have some good quality nutrients, you know, get your fruit and veg in, you know, and have your decent source of protein, even from different sources, so you're covering your amino acid profile, things like that, just for it's a bit more optimal, I guess. And you're going to be all right. Just don't be chasing the next supplement, things like that. I mean, I once tried Clen years ago, when I knew I was out of condition. I managed to get hold of some. I mean, and I don't know what I was bloody thinking about, to be fair, but I thought, this Clen's going to sort me right out. Bloody didn't. It gave shakes and anxiety. You know, it's stuff like that. It don't be chasing the next pill and so on. And again, the fat loss jabs, everything like that, do have the place. I've seen them work. I know people that's taken them in the work, things like that. But again, don't just be chasing that. Don't just think, this jab's going to fix everything. Because what happens when that jab comes to an end? Where's the healthy habits? Where's your, doing your step count? Where's having your fruit and veg, your fibre, your good sources of protein, things like that? Getting enough sleep on a night. Just do the basics well, you know. And I think that's it. To just be basic. You don't have to think, I'm going to try this diet or that diet, or I'm going to, keto's the best thing to do, or, you know, not keto, but maybe even going like, low carb's the way to go. No, I mean, I'm not low carb, and I'm, trying to chase single digit body fat. You know, my carbs are still over 200 gram a day at the moment, and, and I'm trying to get on stage. So you don't need to be going to these extremes with stuff, Just do the basics.
Repeat.
That's us. Consistent.
It is, isn't it, mate?
Certainly.
How does someone break the start again Monday loop?
I did that for a long time, so I should be an expert at this.
Well, this is part of your IG bio as well.
It is. No, I dropped myself right in it, right in that rubbish.
You better be a bloody expert.
So the main thing about starting again, it's have something in mind of what you want to look like, how you want to feel. Begin with the end in mind almost, and be something achievable. I mean, if I'd thought about prep at 20 Clem, it wouldn't have happened. But if I'd thought, let's try and get down a jean size, let's try and get a different hole on the belt, something like that. Great idea. Just how do you want to feel and act how you want to feel. So what's a confident person going to do? They're going to put themselves out there, they're going to lose a bit of weight, they're going to dress well, basics, things like that. And then it's getting a little bit of, I don't want to keep using the word discipline, but just getting a little bit about you where you learn to say no. Does this serve the goal? Going out on a Saturday and having a couple of drinks, no problem. Going out and getting plastered, that bad idea. That's good. That could potentially undo your whole week. And I used to do that. I remember even when I started to take a bit of accountability in uni and so on, I could maybe be good Monday to Friday, and then Saturday night, Leeds were all out, brilliant, and suddenly you're 10 pints in, you've had your pizza, you've then, so you've just buggered the week's deficit that you've done in one go, and then Sunday, of course, you wrote off, so you have another takeaway, don't you? And you do nothing. So
I used to love takeaways.
It's yeah, but again, it's just acting as you want to eventually fail and putting those steps in place every day.
I did. It was always trying. I used to get 2 meals as well.
Bloody hell.
2 meals on it. It was when I lived at my dad's house. 2 meals ordered in. I'd eat a lot. It was amazing times there. So quick fire round. So first thing, what goes to your head? Okay.
Okay.
Hardest part of prep.
Diet.
Go to low calorie meal.
Greek yogurt and protein powder.
Cardio or leg day?
Which one do I hate more?
Well, which one would you prefer?
I really like both. I'd probably pick leg day. Yeah.
Marathon or max squat? This is where you say you don't want squat, isn't it?
I like a hack squat.
Like a hack squat. So marathon or max squat?
Probably pick a marathon. If I'm on my own trying to do one, dreadful. But if it's like an event with a crowd and everything, yeah, marathons. I love race day. Great atmosphere.
Bodybuilding stage or 70-mile finish line?
Oh shit, that's hard. That you know.
First thing, what came to your head?
I think it's stage. It's stage.
One non-negotiable standard every person should have.
Have healthy boundaries.
One excuse you're tired of hearing.
I'm too busy.
One habit that changed your life.
Step counts.
I agree on that one. So what would you say to the version of you at your heaviest?
There's two approaches really. I think the first thing was to stop being a fat bastard and sort yourself out. But I think I'd need the arm round and be like, you know, you can do it. You can be anything you want. If you want to be a bodybuilder, you can do that. If you want to do an ultramarathon, you can do that. If you want to do both, you're also capable of doing that. You know, just a bit of encouragement.
What would you tell someone listening who feels stuck right now?
If I can do it, you can do it.
Class. So where can people find you and work with you as well?
Instagram's the best place at Ashton Online Coaching. Thank you very much.
Podcast, where's that? Yeah, don't forget
that's
that.
That's the podcast, yeah. Yes, with our viewership of about 3 people.
Well, we're on 4, so close in ranks.
So, the CoachCon podcast, you can find that on Spotify, and it's also on my YouTube channel, which is at CoachCon.
Perfect. Thank you
for
very much.
everything, mate.
Thank you very much.